All right. Well, happy Saturday, Central Georgia, and thank you so much again for joining me at 11 a.m. here on 13 WMAZ Plus. So we are going to talk all about the first weekend of the Georgia National Fair. I know it's very exciting. A lot of people are probably already making their way out to the fairgrounds to just enjoy what's going to be, luckily, a really good day to enjoy the fair. We do have some differences to today's forecast to Sundays. So if you're looking for times to get out to the fair through the day today and through the day Sunday, I'm going to walk you through all of those as we go throughout the stream today. And then I'm also going to talk about just some other things of note in the forecast that you're going to notice throughout the weekend and then as we kick off the upcoming work week. So let's get started. We're going to start by looking at the different sky cams. I'm going to take this full screen so that you can get the full picture of what we're looking at here. The good news is it's not so bad outside right now. I will actually take the Perry Fairgrounds Skycam full screen here in just a moment, but I want to show you the other four just to kind of show you the picture that's setting up across the area right now. We have some peaks of blue sky out there, but you'll notice it's hiding behind a lot of cloud cover. From time to time, there's no sunshine, and then from time to time, you have what you have there in Dublin, in Warner Robins, and in downtown Macon, where the sun's trying to come out. There's a little bit of blue skies out there. And I think that's just going to be the case throughout the day today. We're going to have this period of on and off cloud cover. In fact, sometimes you'll probably see a cloud out there where you look like, okay, does that seem like it's about to rain? I think you may be asking yourself that a couple of times today, and then nothing probably actually will come to fruition. So that just kind of gives you an idea of what the skies will look like through the day today. But there is the fairgrounds themselves. People are already making their way to the fairgrounds to kind of enjoy what, again, is going to be a good day for the fair. Even despite the cloud cover, I think that we're actually going to have the chance to avoid rain through the day today, but maybe not so much for Sunday. So you can also see the breeze out there as well. We continue to have a gusty breeze that from time to time can get up to about 20 miles per hour. So actually, I think this is a good day for the fair because cloud cover actually may help things feel a little bit cooler, and the temperatures will actually still climb into the low 80s, but you won't have as much sunshine. So overall, I think this is actually a great fair day. It may be really comfortable, and hopefully you should have the chance to stay dry as well. But let's jump into a few more specifics in the forecast itself. So here's a look at the current numbers across the entire state. Not a huge difference from what's going on up in North Georgia to what's going on here in Macon. We continue to have this flow coming in from the northeast, and that is a big reason for why we are actually a little bit cooler this morning compared to state areas such as Valdosta. Now in our area specifically, it's mainly the low 70s. We started to work our way up towards that number, getting closer to about noon here. There are a couple of upper 60s that are still hanging on here. And this morning, it was a lot chillier than that. We were in the upper 50s, so it was one of those cool, crisp, fall-like mornings earlier this morning as well. And again, we continue to have the flow coming in from the northeast, so the dry air and the cooler air is continuing to be reinforced, and it's kicking up a nice gusty breeze as well that from time to time does have a wind gust up to about 20 miles per hour. So a steady breeze that you'll notice once again through the day today, and that should continue to help us stay on the drier side. Now, I hesitate to say that because if you take a look at this map, if you have been kind of paying attention to the forecast throughout the week, you may have noticed that this is a little bit more green than the map that we had kind of yesterday, the day before, and so on. If you weren't paying attention to the forecast, no worries. All you really need to know is that the humidity is creeping up just a touch. So it's not necessarily dark green, mugginess all over the area, but the mugginess is starting to work its way back into our area. And that kind of sets the stage for what Saturday is going to mean as a whole. Saturday overall is going to be a transition day until we make our way into a much different weather pattern for Sunday. So it's kind of bridging the gap between our sunny, fall-like, dry work week and what's going to be a little bit of a muggier, wet, warmer end of the weekend and kind of start to the upcoming work week. So this is kind of the transition day. One of those things that's transitioning will be humidity, and I'll tell you a little bit more about what you can expect with that as we get a little bit further into the forecast here. So this is the current satellite and radar at the moment, just clouds. We don't actually have any rain out there right now, but we do have a lot of cloud cover across the entire state. But I want to talk a little bit about this map here just for a second. So I'm talking a little bit about transition, right? Right now, this is the dominant weather feature. This high pressure system is ushering in northeasterly breeze, which is reinforcing the dry and cool air that's being dragged down from the north and filtered into our area. But something else that you can kind of see looming down towards the south are these two low pressure systems and this stationary boundary that is resulting just to the south of the Florida Peninsula. So what this is actually going to do is start to kind of creep a little bit towards the north in the coming days. As it does that, that is going to disrupt our weather pattern just a little bit by bringing with it some of the moisture that it's accumulated from the Gulf. So this stationary boundary is also going to get a little bit closer to us. Overall, these are going to become the dominating factors. This is going to push out towards the east, and we're going to start to have the filtering in of a lot of Gulf moisture and what I'm overall going to call tropical moisture. I would call these low pressure systems kind of low pressure systems with tropical characteristics. In fact, the National Hurricane Center has noted both of these. This area right here was an area to watch for potential tropical development over the last couple of days. Low chances. Basically, you don't need to worry about anything forming into a tropical system within this region or really in the Gulf at all, because the Gulf has had uncharacteristically high wind shear over the last couple of months. What that really just means is the winds in the upper levels of the atmosphere have been really hostile. So tropical systems have not had the chance to organize in the Gulf really at all, but also kind of in the surrounding regions here. So that is the same kind of thinking with these two systems, but they have tropical-like characteristics in the sense that they have a lot of moisture from this really almost bathwater that we have here in the Gulf. So it's going to start pushing some of that tropical moisture up into our area, and we will have some rain chances and just some increased moisture over the coming days. What that's started to do has just increased the cloud cover in our area over the last couple of hours or so. So you can see here that little glint of green that you could see for a moment there in the center. That's just some backscatter from the radar. What we're really looking at is just cloud cover, and there's actually no rain out there right now. So let's talk about the rest of the day then. We mentioned really not going to be any sort of major rain chance for this afternoon. I would go ahead and safely say that I think most places are going to stay mainly dry for the day today. What you're going to see on the 7-day is a 10% chance of rain to cover the bases for these teeny tiny isolated showers that might try to pop up. If you happen to be under one of these isolated showers, I think it will be extremely short-lived. It will be a light drizzle at most, and then it should move on. But otherwise, other than that, everybody should be dry today. So that's why I say good fair weather today. Again, cloud cover will be present. Rain chances still going to be extremely low. If you're not going to the fair, I think this is also good tailgating weather. We have Mercer at home. We have Fort Valley State at home. If you're heading up to Athens, the dogs are also at home. So there's just kind of a lot of good opportunities to be outside, and I think that it's going to be conducive weather for that. Now, as we head into Sunday, remember Saturday's our transition day. So Sunday is going to be the first day of some noticeable changes. We're going to start Sunday morning off the same way we started this morning off, with a lot of dense cloud cover. The only difference is there may be a couple of scattered showers trying to enter the picture by Sunday morning. As we go throughout the mid-morning Sunday morning, still a couple of scattered showers are possible all the way into the afternoon, into the late afternoon, and into the evening as well, with kind of some of this activity dying down by the time we get to the late night hours. So if you're heading to the fair on Sunday, here's what I think that you should know. I don't necessarily think that any of these showers are going to be a total washout for the entire day, but I think it's going to be one of those things where we kind of have this nuisance on and off rain from time to time. Sometimes it's just an irritating light drizzle, but there may be a couple of showers that actually could get a little bit heavier on Sunday afternoon. Not everybody is going to see rain, so it's not necessarily a total given washout for the whole area, but it's probably our best rain chance that we've had in quite some time. Remember, we had a very abnormally dry September. Kicking off October, we just still haven't had a lot of rain chances. So this is the first notable rain chance that we've had in a while, but I don't want to oversell it in the sense that I don't necessarily think it's going to be just a day of all-out rain. I actually think if you're trying to get to the fair, you still should be able to do so. If I had to put my personal take on when it would be the best time to go, I would say maybe the morning time. By the time we get to the afternoon, that's when a lot more moisture will have finally reached our area and scattered showers could be a lot more likely. So if you're trying to do Sunday at the fair, maybe Sunday morning, but I would, if you're heading out Sunday morning, still bring your rain jacket or your umbrella because I still think there is a rain chance in the morning. And then I'm actually not sure what time the fair closes, but later night, I'm talking late, as in 9, 10 p.m. I really don't know what time the fair closes, but that is also when some of this should be winding down. So that kind of marks the transition phase, and then we're going to carry that over into Monday as well. So some cloud cover, a couple of occasional scattered showers in the afternoon and into the evening for Monday as well, until all that kind of dies down in the late night hours. Now, remember, that's not the only thing that's going to be transitioning to have rain. We've also got to have some moisture. So we're going to start to see the flow come in from the east as opposed to just the northeast, and that may have things feeling a bit more muggy through Sunday and into Monday also. So not totally true dry air like we've had for the last couple of days, a little bit muggier, but I don't necessarily think it's going to be super uncomfortable, high dew points in the 70s. It just may be noticeable enough that it's not the true dry fall air that we've had for the last couple of days. But like I said, in any event, it's not going to be a washout. If we take a look at rainfall totals, by the time we get all the way through Sunday and all the way through Monday, the highest areas that the graph model is trying to pick up on would still be shy of an inch of rain. So don't get too locked in on where these rainfall totals are the heaviest. There's scattered showers are going to be possible across the whole area, but I think on the high end for tomorrow, we're talking about seeing less than half an inch of rain. So that's also kind of why I'm saying I still think you should be able to get out. Any showers that are heavier should be really short-lived. So I don't really think it's going to be a case of you're locked in your house all day long. I think it's just going to be a case of ducking and dodging showers throughout the day when they kind of pop up at random. So that's kind of where things stand through the weekend and into the early work week. Now, I'll just kind of mention we really could use some rain. We are starting to find our way into some moderate drought categories across some of our southeastern counties. As we've gotten the latest update to the drought monitor, that means that we certainly could use some rain. You probably have had to water your lawns a few more times than normal. That may have also delayed planting for some folks in the agriculture business, which is definitely something that we don't want to see. So we could use the rainfall. Unfortunately, I don't think that we're necessarily going to be able to correct what we have out there in terms of drought conditions with just this teeny tiny amount of rainfall that we're expecting in the next couple of days. But even if we could get half an inch there, that would definitely help. And I'll note, it's actually a good thing to have smaller amounts of rainfall over a steady period of time, because when we get a massive amount of rainfall after we've been under drought conditions, the soil is really dry and it doesn't absorb the rain quite as quickly, and it actually can lead to flooding conditions in certain areas. So actually, if we could get kind of this steady rain chance for the next couple of days, this may end up helping us out just a little bit with what we have going on out there in terms of dry conditions. So that's just to show you where we stand. And now that we've talked about the weekend, let's talk a little bit more about the upcoming work week. So like I mentioned, this will be our transition to a little bit of a more moist period. That means Monday, Tuesday, there will be some scattered rain chances as well. As we head into Wednesday, I'm not sure if you're able to pick it out yourself, but there is what looks to be a slightly more organized rain chance. Now that is because we have a cold front that will be coming towards our area on Wednesday, and it looks to bring with it a couple of scattered to isolated showers and maybe a couple of embedded thunderstorms as well. It looks like we actually have the potential for that. I don't really think we have any sort of severe weather chance, but there could be a couple rumbles of thunder Wednesday heading into Thursday. Unfortunately, it looks like that front may fizzle out a bit before it really has the chance to reach our area, but I still think we have the potential to see some rain from this front throughout Wednesday, lingering into Thursday as well. Now, after that front moves on, as the fronts do, it will probably dry us out a good bit, and we could be looking at some drier conditions for Friday heading into the upcoming weekend. It is also going to cool the temperatures down substantially as well. As we head into, and I don't have a graphic on this, so I'll just kind of talk about this for a moment. As we head into the second half of the work week, so we'll be working our way up towards the 80s. Actually, I do have a graphic on this. The 7-day forecast. As we work our way towards Wednesday, we're going to steadily climb up to the 80s into the mid to upper 80s. So it's going to be a little bit warmer every day through the upcoming work week. But by the time that cold front comes through, you take a look, it really impacts highs a good amount. We'll be dropping back down after the cooler and drier air has settled into the low 80s, probably even the upper 70s by the end of next week. So if you've been a fan of the fall thing, it will be back. We just kind of got to rid ourselves of this tropical moisture and easterly flow that's going to be bringing in some warmer conditions through the next couple of days. Notice also the overnight lows each morning are going to start to get a little bit warmer. So this morning was probably the coolest one that we'll have for a while. We did see the upper 50s this morning. Tomorrow it'll be a little warmer. We'll say low 60s. Then by Monday, it's not going to feel very fall-like out there. Probably mid to even upper 60s in a couple of spots, and we'll hold on to that through about Wednesday until that front can come through. And then I think we'll see those overnight lows beyond the next 7 days. Whoa, start to really get a little bit cooler. I'm not sure what just happened there. I tried to use my pointer and somehow I actually ended up changing the color of Friday. Oh, okay, well, there we go. I reversed it. Okay, so that is kind of what numbers are going to do this week. It's going to be a little bit warmer. And then as that cold front comes through, if you're the fan of the fall thing, it will be back on the second half of the work week. So with all that said, just because we are still in tropic season, I'll also briefly touch on what's going on in the Atlantic right now. The most notable thing that we have out there is this tropical wave that has rolled off of the western coast of Africa. You hear us use this terminology a lot. This is basically how 90% of tropical systems form in the Atlantic. We get these tropical waves, which is basically just a pulse of energy that tropical systems kind of form from, rolling off of the western coast of Africa. This is where it is right now. It's got this kind of loose area of showers and thunderstorms all around it, extremely disorganized, so not really anything right now. But as it moves a little further away from Saharan dust up in this region, closer to what we call the MDR, main development region in the tropics, then it's got a better chance of organizing and potentially becoming a tropical system. We've got medium chances of development right now, 50% over the next 7 days. So this is not something that we'll see come to fruition by the end of the weekend or even by the early work week. This is probably something that we'll be talking about in the second half of the upcoming work week. And again, similar to the last couple of systems, it's just one we're going to have to watch for a while. We really won't have any answers about what this is going to become, where it's going to go, until we get much further into the upcoming week. So really nothing to worry about right now, just to show you that it's out there. And then again, I mentioned this earlier, I showed you those two low pressure systems, but the National Hurricane Center does have these outlined here. I'll explain why. Basically, this low pressure was expected to kind of move towards the Florida Peninsula. While it was in this region, the National Hurricane Center said it had very low chances of becoming a tropical system, but they were outlining it for potential chances. It never got beyond a 10% chance of development. Now, this is really the thing you need to know, neither of these two low pressure systems are going to become any sort of tropical system. Again, I mentioned this earlier, the upper level winds that are in the Gulf and over in the region that the Bahamas are in are just extremely hostile. So tropical systems just don't have what they need to get together and organize in either of these areas at the moment. So these will not be tropical systems. The reason that they are outlined at all is because they are forming, one, during tropic season, and two, over these extremely, extremely warm waters. They're sitting in the same spot. They are broad areas of low pressure, so they are producing disorganized showers and thunderstorms. And again, I called them low pressure systems with tropical characteristics. That's essentially what they are. They're broad low pressure systems with disorganized showers and thunderstorms, but a tropical sized amount of moisture. And that is going to be creeping closer to the southeastern U.S. in the coming days, impacting us ultimately by bringing us some slightly increased rain chances. So if you happen to see these over the next couple of days, That's all they are, just broad low pressure areas with 0% chance of development. We're just going to be tagging them because they've got tropical characteristics. So that is kind of what we have going on in the forecast right now. I hope that that gives you a picture of when you should be heading to the fair. Again, if you've kind of on the fence right now and you're watching this thinking, I could go today, but I also could go tomorrow, I would just go ahead and call it and go today, because it's probably going to be the best chance to avoid any sort of rain to go this afternoon. The cloud cover actually might make things feel nice, and we still have the nice dry breeze out there. So I think today is actually going to end up being good fair weather, despite what the clouds may tell you. Sunday, rain chances increase. Again, I don't think it's going to be a washout. If you want to head out on Sunday, I still think that you can. I would just bring a rain jacket, bring an umbrella, make plans to have to kind of run inside from time to time in case a shower does roll across the area. But I still think you should be able to get outside and enjoy it. So even as we head into the upcoming work week, these rain chances will be very touch and go. There's not necessarily a single day on the 7-day where I see all total washout. Once you see rain chances that get over 50%, that's when we're talking about much better coverage of the area, and that's when we start talking about things that would make a little bit of a wash of a day. While all these rain chances are still below 50%, I think we're still good to go with most of these days, as long as you can have a little bit of a rain contingency plan to kind of duck inside or just kind of huddle under an umbrella for the time being. So that will be the case for Sunday, likely Monday, and then potentially through about the midweek until we can get that front come through here, and then hopefully it is a better weekend next weekend. So I hope that gives you a little bit of perspective on the Georgia National Fair. If you're going out today, enjoy it. I believe I potentially may find myself there later, so hopefully I can see some of you all while I'm out there. But I hope you have a wonderful Saturday. If you're not attending the fair, go Dogs, and I will see you back here tomorrow morning. Tomorrow we will also be back on the stream talking a little bit more about the extended forecast at 10 a.m. as opposed to 11 a.m. So feel free to join me for 13 WMAZ and then at 10 a.m. on 13 WMAZ Plus for another extended look at your forecast. I'll leave you with the 7-day, but I hope that you have a fabulous day, and I'll see you tomorrow.